What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're working on my Toyota Tacoma for less than $100. We're just doing some minor touch-ups with it. You can see that we have already started. I am taking off these fender flares. I wasn't really a huge fan of them. I'll go ahead and show you the one I just took off. I know a lot of you guys did not like them either. They only cost me $100 off of Amazon, so they were way cheaper than some of the other brands that are like $400 or $500. So it was something to try, but I am putting my stock fender flares back on, so I'm really glad that I kept those. And you can see, actually let me show you this real quick. I love how much more the tire pokes out now that I've taken those flares off. So it's gonna give it maybe a little bit more of an aggressive look. And over here you can see we have a stock rear fender flare. We are testing out painting the backside of it with some undercoating. So this is gonna be used for my cab mount chop, which we are also updating today. So we need to kind of respray that and just cover it up. But we have 2 coats on here so far.
It has a good texture to it.
Yeah.
It almost looks like the powder coated metal. So I think that's gonna look pretty good comparing it to the
yeah, we're kind of in the
plastic.
sun in our shade here.
But it darkens it up a lot.
Yeah, see that?
Cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. These are kind of scraped up from off-road, so I've got some marks running down them. One of them I hit a dirt wall.
Right here.
Is it? Yeah, this one right here. So I kind of ran into a wall at some point, and you can see that. So I just want to cover them up and give them a really nice design.
And that's gonna look great.
Yeah, I think that'll look really good. So that is our test piece because we're gonna be cutting that. If anybody is interested in these fender flares, message us on Instagram. They are cut in the back for the high clearance bumper, so you kind of have to have that set up in order to get these. And so from here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the other 3 flares. We'll get everything prepped and ready to go, and then we can move on to the paint. With the flare off now, I kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And now, if you guys remember in a video, these flares were actually scraping the paint of the truck. So I took them back off and put on this clear PPF strip. And you can see in the vinyl here, I do have to replace the vinyl because I didn't have enough of the strip to do. So I just figured the vinyl can take a beating. So that's what it was doing to my paint, which is something that nobody wants. You don't want to ruin your truck by doing that. So just by pulling this kind of towards me a little bit, this stuff definitely did its job, and it only cost me like 11 bucks, which is really cool. And so you can see we just have to clean it now, but it did its job protecting the paint. You can see I have a couple pieces in between the vinyl too, just to help with that. Alright, so it's been a couple hours already, and we have the truck pretty much ready to go so far as being cleaned up. We have the stock fender flares with the adhesive on the backside, and they are ready for paint. We're going to be using that undercoat, and it's going to match the, the powder coating on the bumpers really nicely. So it's going to look better than the stock factory plastic that they have. So now what we have to do before we can paint those, we have to cut the rears to match the backside here. So we do have to drop my rear bumper, and that's going to be a little bit of fun. It weighs about 150 pounds. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So that was actually not all that bad. So now it's time to mock up our stock flare, and it's going to go right here. Some of these tabs are broken. Can you hold the back side of this so we can try to pop them in? Alright, so I popped it into place, and that's going to be our new line down here. And then once we get these back off and painted is when we can redo the vinyl on this side. I popped it back in the way. You ready?
Yep. So onto the painting now, using the undercoating. Mike is just using a liquid to get all the dirt, grease, wax, everything off of it, just to clean the surfaces. Just some of that. Here's the product that we're using, this undercoating. We did a test like we said earlier. We'll have this on Amazon. This is where we got it. We'll have that link below along with all the products we use. This is a very cheap touch-up for the truck. So that's that. Now we're going to set you guys up on the tripod. That's cleaned up. We'll let that dry, clean all these up, start spraying, and then show you the final product.
Brian is getting ready to start on the third flare. I wanted to show you guys a before and after. Comment down below which one from this angle do you think is painted versus the stock. I'll go ahead and give you a sec. Okay, so the top one has been coated. The bottom one is the factory plastic. And I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but it definitely looks a lot more uniform.
We get really close to it. You can see the texture just like a powder coating on a metal. And then cheap plastic. And this is much darker black. This kind of has grayed a little bit. Yeah. Hasn't been on the truck that long, but it's kind of grayed like plastic does.
Yeah,
but that's looking really cool.
It looks like it's going to match the powder coating a lot better.
Yeah.
Which is what we tried to do on the other Fender flares.
With Plasti Dip though.
With Plasti Dip. So this is more permanent. But I like it. I didn't know if I was going to like that test strip that we did.
Yeah, it's looking really good. It
looks really good, so I can't wait to get these back on the truck. With the fender flares drying now, we went ahead and cleaned up the cut line that we originally had. We need to let that paint dry for a little bit, so we're going to move on to the vinyl on the side, and then from there we can put our weather strip or door edge guard back on the bottom there. So you guys have probably already seen vinyl wrap before. I'll link down below the video of us actually doing this project if you're interested in that. But for today's video, we're going to go ahead and get the new vinyl on. Alright, so we got the vinyl on, we have this new strip on our cut there, and we're just going to go ahead and snap on the rear bumper. So the rear bumper is back on now, and it is a brand new day. We decided to let the undercoating on the flares dry overnight. It was a little bit tacky yesterday to put these back on. So here is the final product. I really like how these came out. They're going to match the powder coating on my bumpers very nicely with the rest of the black theme that I have going on. What I also went ahead and did this morning, I'll show you a picture before and after of my inner fender liner. I took the heat gun to it and actually pushed it in. That was the only thing that was rubbing after I did the cab mount chop. So we did another coat of undercoating on that and then pushing those in, and I have zero rubbing now, which is awesome to see. So let's go ahead and get these fender flares on and check out the new look. So there we have it, the new look for the Tacoma, putting the flares back to stock. Honestly, I love how this turned out. They look a lot better than the aftermarket ones that I put on, and the undercoating that we did to them matches nicely with the powder coating on the bumper. It looks really good, and of course having that 3M adhesive on the backside is going to hold those on very nicely, since there's only 3 bolts now that hold the rear fender flare in place. The other 3 are of course gone because the rest of the body there is gone, but they look so good. I have the new vinyl on this side looking just as good. And then moving up front now, I really like how much more the tire pokes out compared to the other flares that I had. The other ones were much bigger, of course, and much wider. So even coming from the rear angle here, you can see that tire poke out just a little bit, which I really like. I don't want anything over aggressive, but I think it just gives it a really nice stance. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below. Let me know what other Tacoma mods you would like to see. I'm kind of focusing on my Wrangler right now, but I don't want to let the Tacoma just sit. I want to keep doing mods to this as well, because I know you guys love seeing videos on the Tacoma. So as always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give it a huge thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video.